So how do we influence our field to get what we want?
So first of all, we got to extract, like, so you see now we're getting clarity. So now we got to extract, like, one principle that you find in spiritual knowledge all the time says, you create your reality. Incorrect. Okay?
What do you create?
You create a consensus reality with the universe.
A conscious reality or what?
A consensus.
Consensus.
Yeah,
What does
like
that mean?
it means it's common to everybody. It's in interaction with everybody. So you create your reality and the universe create you, right? So there's a feedback, right? It's not a one-way thing. If everybody created their own reality, we would never meet. There would be no consensus reality. We would never meet. You would be in your reality.
A different world.
And it'd be perfect.
Right.
It would be perfect. It would be exactly what you want. And I'd be in mine. And I'd be creating exactly what I want. And I might not know about you. So I'm not going to necessarily create you in my reality. Right? So we would be completely isolated. It's exactly the opposite of spiritual teaching. It's exactly the opposite of spiritual teaching.
Sure.
So what is creation is interaction. Creation is relationship, right? How difficult it may be, it is relationship. And it is...
Same thing as manifesting then?
Yeah. Manifesting is relationship. Relationship with the whole, right?
The whole you, the whole it, the whole everything.
You, the whole it, the whole everything. You basically have to learn to be in the flow, right? Because the flow may not be something that you're able to process directly, meaning the field has a flow. And it's bringing you somewhere, and your intent may not be aligned with that. And if it's not, you're like pedaling against the universal flow, and you're not going to have a good day. So you're not going to win that, because there is scaling relationships. There is hierarchy in the universe.
Hierarchy?
Hierarchy. It's a French word, but it's in English as well. I'm not pronouncing it properly. It's like when you have, the boss is the highest guy. Hierarchy. Yeah. So yeah.
I don't know if I was hierarchy, like the years of the universe or something. I was like,
no.
Is this a physics term I'm not aware of? Yeah.
Yeah. So for instance,
hierarchy
means for like just a gross one. The sun, the earth decides to blow up. Okay? It blows up. Okay? The solar system, the sun specifically, wouldn't even notice.
No.
Right?
It's a hierarchy.
It would go tsk, and it'd be like, oh, what was that? Oh, that was the earth. It's gone. Yeah. Oh, okay. Right?
It's so small compared to it.
Yeah. Like you step on an ant, you don't necessarily notice, but you just ended a life.
Yeah.
Right? So the sun is having a bad day and sends a flare, which is just a little teeny flare. Like for the sun, it's just one little like burp. It burps towards the earth, and bam, we lose the atmosphere, we lose everything. So there's relationships that are very specific, scaling factors. These scaling factors come out in these equations. That's why I can scale the equation from the Planck scale to the universe and get the right answers. So there's very specific scaling. So you have to flow. You have to flow with the universe. And yes, if your want, and when you flow, that means you're starting to feel what the universe wants from you.
How do you know what the universe wants from you?
Because when you think about it, when you feel it, it gets you really excited.
Now, what if something, okay, I love this. Now, what if there's something that you feel like you're supposed to be doing, but you're afraid and you doubt yourself. You don't believe yourself. You don't, or you're afraid of the failure that might come from it.
Right.
The embarrassment. So is that something you should lean into, even though
So-
you know it's potentially going to be a greater outcome? Or do you stay comfortable because it feels better to be in this flow, where you don't take the jump, the leap, the uncomfortable relationship that you have to move forward?
So when I want to clarify
Yes.
that when I talk about flow right now, I'm not talking only metaphorically.
Yes.
These equations are literally flow dynamics, like circulation equations in physics. Okay, so that field is flowing. You know, I said you might be pedaling up the flow and you're not having a good day. What you just described is the contrary. You're not pedaling up the flow, but you're trying to stop in the flow. Right? The flow is saying go, and you're
saying, "No, I'm gonna be comfortable."
I'm gonna be comfortable. I'm gonna stop, and that's not gonna give you good results neither.
Right.
In both cases, there's friction, if you like.
Sure.
There's thermodynamics. Is like there's
feedback.
entropy.
There's feedback.
There's feedback. 2x4s, hitting you behind the head, to like move on, right? Like events in your life will occur that will push you in those directions, and you might never realize that that it's the time to flow.
Yes.
Until you're on your deathbed and you go, why did I resist? Like why did I not do that? Why did I not go for it?
Yes.
And it's kind of too late.
Sure.
The flow is getting you somewhere else, right? And you're not going to be able to flow with that body the way you were flowing. Right.
What's the best way to listen or be aware of the flow we're supposed to be moving into?
So that's why you have to take the time to explore the flow within you. This is where it's at. Because remember, your antenna, right? For you to get the information, you got to tune it. You got to tune it good. And how do you tune your antenna good? You got to, we just discussed, like your emotions, your thoughts, and all this are going to make the antenna be really coherent or be really erratic. And then it's like you got the radio station off the radio station. Now you got a lot of noise, right?
A lot of static.
A lot of static. It's like, and then you don't know where to go. You don't know what to do.
How do you tune your antenna? How do you personally do it? Like, what's your practice?
Oh, since I'm 11, I've meditated.
Really?
My whole life, yeah. At least 5 minutes a day.
Yeah. And what does that do for you when you...
You quiet everything down so that you don't have so much, influence from the outside field, so that you can listen to the inside field for that part that's going out. Like how, like what you are, so that you can express it out. You have to get that part.
And what is that voice inside of you? Where's that coming from?
So this is part of the equations I will write after this paper, because this paper is already a big chunk. But I started writing them in biophysics with other biophysicists. You can extrapolate these equations to show that when there's an equivalence in physics between energy, the flow, right, and information, right? So that voice is the information that's coming in you, that you're tuning into.
Interesting.
Right? It's like the radio station. That's the voice of you.
Yeah.
Now, why is your voice different than mine if it's one field?
Why?
Because in an infinite fractal, every point observes the universe from a different perspective.
Point of view.
Exactly. So we're all getting a different set of information.
That's crazy.
And that's all of us getting a different set, and I don't mean just humans.
Yes.
All things getting a different set of information is what makes the global thing be what it is. See, it's feedback. So you see these differently than I do, right? Because you see that side, and I see this side. If I have a wheel between you and I spinning, I will swear, and I would bet you millions of dollars that it's going clockwise. And you would swear the exact contrary. So who's right?
Both of us? From
Correct.
our interpretation.
That's right. And that's all there is relationships in the field. And that's what makes everything what it is the relationship, the exchange of information. And it's not happening at the speed of light. It's happening at the speed of entanglement, which is instantaneous.
Entanglement.
Entanglement. We measure it in quantum physics, right? We can see that particles can be entangled, and it doesn't matter if they're across the universe from each other. If you modify one, the other one changes.
Really?
Yeah, instantaneously. It's called entanglement. So we actually measure the fact that things are connected that way. Okay? So the whole universe is entangled through this field. And the exchange of information in this, and these are straight up the equations I wrote, okay? And the exchange of information, listen carefully, the exchange of information across the universe through all these nodes, like all the points, any points you choose, right, is the energy of the system in that local region. Meaning the energy, so I'll give you the example. Take a proton.
Okay.
You calculate how many Planck information bits there is in that proton, every little oscillation. You know that an E equals mc squared, right? So a little energy is a mass, right? So you can calculate the mass of all the little Planck inside the proton. When you do that, you get not approximately, exactly the mass of the universe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So all the other protons in the universe are expressed inside one proton.
That's crazy.
Okay, because it's entangled. But what we measure, the mass of the proton, clearly is not the mass of the universe.
Right, of course.
Is only the information that's able to exchange across the membrane of the proton. And when you do that calculation, remember I told you the equation is a surface to volume ratio? You do that calculation, you get the exact mass of the proton and the exact radius. If you modify, if you change the units. And when I did that, I calculated it. The radius was 4% smaller than what they were measuring at the time and what standard model predicted. 4% is huge discrepancy, right, in quantum physics. As I was telling you, we measure with 12-digit accuracy, so 4%, you're in another universe. Well, I predicted that they were wrong by 4%, right? Because my equation was good for everything else, so it could not be wrong for the radius of the nuclei of the atom, the proton. And shortly thereafter, they measured it more precisely in an accelerator in Switzerland, and I was correct. And now that value is the standard value for the radius of the proton.
Wow.
And so, those are the kinds of things that confirms physical theory and make them standard model, right? They will. This will end up being the standard model.
Wow.
It's for sure because of what I wrote. It's not published yet. I don't know how long the journey is going to be for them to get it, but I think it's going to be pretty short because the paper I'm about to publish it's just straightforward.
Right.
No, there's nothing you can do about it. It's a done deal.
Wow.
So, but basically, you have the universe in terms of information inside you.
Right.
Not inside one of your protons, inside all of your protons. Okay?
Okay.
So you're connected.
Yes.
The network is happening. You're already there. It's how well you're able to tune into it.
That's the key, huh?
Yeah.
Tuning in, essentially listening
To what it's saying.
and where you're supposed to flow into.
That's right.
Where you're supposed to go into,
Right.
where the flow is for you.
Yeah. The natural world does it really well because clearly it's doing a really good at listening because it's making me and it's staying really coherent for a long time.
Right. A tree is coherent. And
Yeah.
an apple is coherent.
The cells are making the right thing, so they're flowing the right way, right?
So the best way I'm hearing for us to tune into where we should go into the flow for us individually is through getting really still, quieting out the static, and tuning in and listening. And then when there's coherence, or when we feel something connects to us or resonates with us or aligns to us individually, go into that.
Go.
No matter how scary it is, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter if your friends and family say you're crazy, don't do that, we're never gonna love you again if you do this, you're insane, we'll never speak to you again, you're gonna lose all your money, you're gonna die if you do this, you're still saying we should lean into that flow.
Trust, 100%.
What is on the other side?
100%.
What is on the other side of that flow?
And this
Trusting
is,
that
by the
flow.
way, that's the concept of faith in the religious. It's not faith of some guy or whatever. It's faith that you are being led, right? That you're moving
Who is leading you?
the universe, everything else, so that you take your place,
Gosh, wow.
so that you are a good will works for the universe, that you're helping, that you're going with. You're learning, you're growing, you're changing, you're transforming, you're informing the whole thing, because it's not just that you're listening to the whole thing, the universe in each one of your protons, but you're actually influencing the whole thing by moving your proton, by doing things, by thinking things.
But doing the thing that you're supposed to do.
Right. And more you align with that field, of course, more of an influence you have on it.
And
right?
the more you manifest and attract in that field.
What you want to attract.
But when we go
Because
against
you're aligning.
But when we go against that flow, which means we're going against the voice and the alignment and the coherence within us, it's harder to manifest and attract, is what I'm hearing you say.
Right.
It takes longer times.
Well, most people, a lot of people don't even know there's a voice. Like the first step is to become aware that there is a voice. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's happening on automatic.
Yes.
Right? So to just become aware, wait, there's a voice. You know, and follow that lead. Like like tune the antenna. Like I want to hear more clear.
Right.
Because people talk about that voice, like they talk about a gut feeling or instinct or whatever. And first of all, it's got to be made clear that all discoveries in the world came from that voice.
Right, because it was like, I think I should do this thing. Let me tinker with it and go create it.
Exactly.
Right. Let me alchemize this idea, this feeling.
Nothing new comes out of studying the guy before you.
Right.
Okay, you might study the guy before you to get to where they were.
And feedback and build a relationship from that to... Yeah.
But if you're going to make a step into the unknown for your planet, for instance, for the consciousness of your environment, of course, your parents and your friends and everybody going to say you've lost it, you're crazy, because you're going past where they know, right? So
in their comfort zone.
In their comfort zone.
So you have to overcome so much.
You have to overcome the whole morphogenetic field of the planet.
That's amazing.
See, because the flow is influenced by the whole thing.
Wow.
So you have to, it's a significant thing. And then if you're going to change the morphogenetic field of the planet, you better bring a lot of people with you, right? So you got to convince other people to start thinking the way you do.
Which is hard.
Which is hard. It gets easier if you have physics to help.
Sure.
But then you have to convince the physicists.
Right.
And there's other influence. There is invested interest in various things in which, you know, they understand what you're saying, they
Right.
just don't want it to come out. These people that are working in these fields typically work on a very focused point in that field, and they don't necessarily talk to the other guys in the field right beside them, or in and so
And they all have their beliefs and viewpoints as well, probably, right?
right, and their expertise and their jargon